She pulled the trigger and killed a soldier. Now there's no going back, a deadly escape, and a choice that changes everything. Welcome back to The Duke's Masked Bride.
The wind howled through the woods on the outskirts of the kingdom as Damien and Kate rode on. The once lush green forests were becoming more sparse, giving way to withered trees. They were in no man's land, and the journey had been relentless. They had been traveling for days on horseback, stopping only for brief moments to rest and eat. Kate's legs ached, a sore reminder of all that she had been through in the past. Her body was tired from the endless galloping, and her patience was wearing dangerously thin. The sky had already begun to darken, the sunset casting bruised shades of violet and crimson across the horizon. As they reached a clearing in the woods, Kate yanked on Damien's coat. "Stop," she commanded, her voice slightly hoarse. "Fine. We'll rest here." Damien slowed his horse to a stop. "Drink?" He passed Kate the dwindling canteen of water. She slapped it out of his hand. "I don't want a water break." Kate pushed herself off the horse, landing with an ungrateful thud on the ground. She cursed as she got to her feet, brushing the leaves off her dress, and glared at Damien. He stared back at her, mild amusement playing on his face. Snack break then?" "I want to know where the hell we are going. You haven't said but 2 words to me since you dragged me out of my home." Damien cocked his head at her. "That's an interesting take on events. In my version, I saved your life from the big bad Duke." Kate scowled at him. "Tell yourself whatever you want, but I refuse to go a step further until you tell me your plan." At this, Damien rolled his eyes. "I've told you, we're leaving Lockmere." "But to where?" Kate interrupted, turning in a circle. "What on earth could be out this far? There's nothing here but trees and rocks and—" "I think you offended them," Damien said, his mouth curling into a teasing smirk. "Enough," she snapped. She crossed her arms and stared up at him, her eyes burning into him. "Speak." Damien exhaled, rolling his shoulders before dismounting. His movements were fluid and controlled, in direct contrast to Kate's state. He studied her for a long moment, the dimming light casting deep shadows across his face. "We're going to Greyhold," he finally said. "Oh, that's a relief. Greyhold." She rolled her eyes in pure mockery. "Where the hell is that, Damien?" Damien smirked, picking up the canteen that Kate slapped away. He unscrewed it and took a sip, offering it to her afterward. She shook her head, impatiently waiting. "How much do you know about the history of these lands, Kate?" Kate rolled her eyes. "I don't want a history lesson." "Maybe not. But if you want to know about Greyhold, you'll have to indulge me." He smiled, waiting for Kate to nod before he continued. He looked up into the sky. "Long ago, this land was not divided into kingdoms, but was united as one. It was known as Velmoria, for its people's incredible strength and the grandeur of the land. But not all were satisfied. Under a ruthless leader, 3 separate lands revolted and split into distinct nations. Lockmere is one, Eldenfield is another, and Greyhold is the last, the greatest." "If it's so great, why haven't I ever heard of it?" Kate challenged. "There are many things that exist that you've never heard of, my dear Kate." Damien chuckled. "Greyhold is an island without law," he continued. "Lockmere and Eldenfield took their newfound freedom and did what? They boxed themselves in, repeated the same thing they had come from. Zero imagination, no sense of what a kingdom truly could be. But in Greyhold, There was a vision for something more than royal families and decrees. In Greyhold, the people once cast out, pirates, criminals, misfits, rule as they see fit. A slow chill crept down Kate's spine. It sounds like you're saying it's an island full of thieves and murderers. Damien tilted his head, his smirk deepening. Our kind of people, Kate. You and I will fit in there. More than that, it will feel like home. And we can shed ourselves of the silly skins we wear to fit into society. There, we will be free. Kate furrowed her brow, intrigued despite herself. But what will we do there? Anything we want, Kate, Damien assured, smiling up at the open sky. But more importantly, we can plan our attack. We can take the time we need to make sure we end the Collins for good. He raised his head and opened his arms. Listen, Kate. Can't you hear the call of freedom? She glanced at the horizon. She could see where the trees all but stopped, and the land ended in a jagged cliffside, the distant crash of waves against the shore filling the air. She breathed in deeply. She could smell it now, the scent of salt and brine in the air, the wind carrying the cries of distant gulls. And how exactly are we supposed to get to this godforsaken place? She asked, her voice haughty in an attempt to hide her fear. Damien turned toward the sound of the sea. We sail. A boat? Kate took a step back, shaking her head. I've never left Lockwood, let alone Lockmere. What do I know about sailing? Damien turned to her, his expression softening as he registered her fear. He reached out, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face before taking her hand in his. Don't worry about a thing, Kate. I didn't save you to abandon you. We are close to the border now, and all we have to do is keep going. Don't give up on us just yet. I need you by my side. He leaned down and kissed her, his lips gently pressing into hers, reminding her that with him, she was safe, she was loved, she was free. Just a little further and we'll be free. No more running, no more hiding. Just you and me, building the future we deserve. He murmured, his forehead still touching hers. Are you ready to continue? Kate swallowed, ignoring the heat creeping up her neck. She hated how easily Damien could override her senses. His lips brushed against hers again, and she let herself melt into him, the world fading into nothing but his touch. When he pulled away, her heart pounded. Whether from anticipation or fear, she wasn't sure. She took a deep breath. Let's go. As they pressed forward, the landscape flattened into coastal terrain. The roar of the sea grew louder, a relentless drumbeat against the cliffs. Then they saw them, soldiers stationed along the shore. Lockmere's soldiers? All the way out here? Damien cursed under his breath. He pulled their horse into a shadowy area, his jaw set in frustration. This won't be as easy as I thought, he whispered, his expression hardening. Kate gritted her teeth, staring at the gleam of the soldiers' armor as they patrolled the coastline. They're looking for us. They have to be. What will we do? We've come too far to stop now. Damien met her gaze, his eyes steely with determination. We need a plan. Damien and Kate hid in the shadows of the sparse trees as they took stock of their situation. Below them, patrolling the coastline, were Lockmere's soldiers, blocking their path to the freedom of Greyhold. Kate's breath came in shallow, measured gasps. She had fled her home, but it was not yet done with her.
What should we do?
Kate whispered. Her voice trembled with fear.
They're getting closer.
You stay here, Damien said, his voice low but steady. I'll fight the soldiers alone.
Alone? You can't.
There's only 5 of them, and I'm sure that I can take them down. All you need to do is stay put. Damien crouched and quietly pulled his satchel closer to him. He rummaged through it, finally finding what he was looking for. His hand wrapped around the smooth, hard grip of a pistol. Take this. He pushed the pistol into her hands and wrapped her fingers around the cold metal. If anything happens, if anyone comes up here, I want you to shoot them.
I can't.
Kate whimpered. You can and you will. Damien reassured her with a quick smile. You're a survivor, Kate. Trust your instincts. She clutched the pistol, her index finger grazing the trigger.
Okay.
Good. Then you'll take their boat and sail on, he continued, pointing into the distance. Kate shook her head, trembling. Shooting someone to save her life was one thing, but getting on a boat and sailing off was entirely different.
Damien, I won't leave you. I'll die out there on my own.
He took a deep breath, staring at Kate, drinking in her features. You're beautiful. You know that? I won't leave you, Kate. But if something happens, I need to know that you've gotten out of here. It's the only thing that will bring my spirit peace. Promise me that you'll sail to Greyhold.
I promise,
she murmured. With that, Damien gave her a final parting kiss before exiting their hiding spot. He stepped out and away from where Kate was hidden, positioning himself behind the soldiers. Drawing his sword, he moved like a specter of death. His blade flashed under the waning sunlight before finding a home in the first soldier's chest. The soldier had no time to fall before Damien had extracted his sword and was upon the next man. The second man fell without a sound. His throat slit so cleanly that blood pooled at his feet before his knees buckled. The third soldier's eyes went wide as he took in the aftermath of Damien's sneaky attack. 2 soldiers were already lost. With a shout, he lunged at Damien, his sword clashing against Damien's in a spray of sparks. The sharp metallic clang rang out as seagulls screamed above in a frenzied flight. The other 2 soldiers rounded the 2 men as they fought, searching for a moment to help their fellow man. Damien eyed one as he timed his lunge, and, at the last minute, turned his position, causing the soldier's blade to slice into the back of his comrade. The soldier fell to the ground, and, in the moment of shock, Damien rammed his sword to the hilt into the gut of the 4th soldier. He yanked the blade free, sending the man crumpling to the ground. There was only 1 soldier left, the last one standing. The soldier and Damien circled each other slowly, each judging the other's moves. As the final soldier, he had an advantage, having seen how Damien fought. He would not be so easily surprised, much to Damien's dismay. Eager to end the battle and return to Kate, Damien swiftly lunged forward, swinging his sword in an arc. The final soldier moved faster than the others, ducking low and rolling out of the way. He extended his leg, and with a well-placed kick, Damien's feet were knocked out from under him. Damien landed with a hard thud on his back, unable to get to his feet in time. The last soldier jumped to his feet and stood over Damien, holding his sword under Damien's chin. His face was a mask of determination as he readied himself to drive steel through Damien's neck. "It's over, scum," the soldier growled. The deafening shot echoed across the shore, scattering the last of the seagulls. The The soldier's eyes were wide with surprise as he staggered back, the sword slipping from his grip as a red bloom spread across his chest. He sputtered, unable to speak, spraying droplets of blood before he finally collapsed, lifeless, beside Damien. The pistol slipped from Kate's trembling fingers, landing in the dirt. She crept out of the shadows, her hands trembling as she stared at what she had done.
I killed...
Her knees buckled, but before she could fall, Damien was on his feet, grabbing her shoulders. Kate! He smiled at her. You did it! She looked between Damien and the dead man.
He was a soldier. What have I done?
Damien shook her lightly. You saved my life. You survived. We survived. That's all that matters. It's getting late, Damien said, looking up at the sky. It's not safe to cross the ocean at night, so we'll need to wait until morning. He took Kate's trembling hands in his, holding them tight. You could use the rest anyway. You did good today, Kate. Kate nodded silently, unable to say anything, barely able to make sense of what had just occurred. She was not only a fugitive, but a murderer 2 times over. Killing a soldier? She would be proclaimed an enemy of the kingdom. She would never be able to return to Lockwood now. Any chance of a home now rested in Damien's hands. They had to get to Greyhold. Do you see that? Damien pointed out to the ocean. Beautiful, isn't it? The waves lapped against the shore, the tide creeping closer. The wind carried the scent of salt, mingled with the iron tang of blood. Greyhold is just beyond the horizon, he said. We'll set sail in the morning. Kate followed his gaze, staring at the vast, endless stretch of ocean. It was infinite and terrifying. Beyond those dark waves lay a new life. A life where she would be safe. A life where she and Damien could finally claim freedom and plan their revenge. But at what cost?
I'm supposed to die.
The crackling fire cast flickering shadows against the trees as the salty sea breeze drifted inland. Kate lay on the cool ground, exhausted, yet sleep had offered no refuge, no relief. The sound of the gunshot echoed through her nightmare, waking her. A whispering rustle stirred the trees. At first, she dismissed it as the wind, but the sound grew closer and louder. It was deliberate and unnatural. She sat up, snapping her head in the direction of the sound. Beyond the tree line, bathed in eerie moonlight, stood Clark. Kate's breath caught in her throat. She shook her head, wheeling the image away, but his ghostly visage persisted. He was impossibly there, gaunt and gray, his lifeless eyes sunken into his decaying face. His tattered clothes hung loose over his skeletal frame, his skin a sickly hue of black and brown. He lifted a trembling hand and beckoned her forward. She blinked hard, but each time she opened her eyes, there he was, his outstretched hand calling, urging her toward him. Her heart pounded. She wasn't dreaming. Clark was here. Kate shot a glance at Damien. He was unmoving beside her, fast asleep. His steady breath was a comfort she wished she could take as her own, but forces beyond her control had something else in mind. Slowly, she rose to her feet.
Clark?
She whispered, taking a small step toward him. Clark only beckoned her closer. She took another step toward him, and then another.
How are you here?
Her voice was as shaky as her legs. The vision of Clark said nothing. He gazed at her and then turned, moving deeper inland. Every part of Kate's mind screamed for her to run away, wake Damien, grab the pistol, to do anything but go with the ghost of the man she had killed. And yet, she followed. She stepped forward, drawn to him as if bound by an unseen force. Clark led away from the fire's glow, his footsteps silent on the sandy ground. Soon, the darkness swallowed them both whole. The further they went, the heavier the air became. No longer the salty mist of the sea, but the thick, cloying scent of decay. Then Clark stopped. He stood in a clearing, bathed in the moonlight. Kate stepped forward, taking in the gruesome sight before her. His body was as she had left it. His leg was twisted, his eyes open and stuck in a perpetual state of shock. Though he stood before her, he looked just as he did, slumped at the base of the stairs in the Barrett estate. A lifeless puppet, pulled from the floor and dangling before her.
Kate,
he rasped. Black flies crept out of his open mouth and crawled in and out of his nose. She clutched her stomach and staggered back, bile rising in her throat.
look at what you've done to me.
His voice, hollow and ragged, carried the scent of rot. Kate shook her head violently, tears streaming down her cheeks.
No, Clark, I didn't mean to. It was an accident.
He shook his decaying head.
You made me suffer.
Clark whispered, his voice echoing in the trees.
Look at what you've done to me. Face me.
Reluctantly, Kate raised her head.
I didn't have a choice.
She cried.
You threatened me. You would have turned me in. You would have let them take me away to rot in a cell. So, you chose to let me rot instead.
She gasped as he took a step forward.
This is what you did. This is what you're capable of.
She clenched her fists, gasping for air.
I'm not a killer.
Clark took a slow, menacing step forward.
You cannot run. You cannot hide. You will never be free.
He pointed back toward the camp where Damien still slept.
And now you follow a man who will drag you deeper into darkness.
Kate flinched.
No, Damien saved me. He loves me.
Clark's rotting mouth curled into a ghastly smile.
Does he?
A cold shiver ran down her spine.
Turn back, Kate.
Clark urged.
Go home. Return to Lockwood and right your wrongs before it's too late.
Kate's chest heaved as her fear transformed into a fit of dark, ugly anger.
Why should I? I'm close to being free. Why should I return and have to suffer?
Clark shook his head.
Kate, you're on a dark path,
he warned.
Repair the bonds. Go to Alessandra.
At the sound of her name, Kate flew into a rage.
No! Never!
Spittle flew from her mouth as all her trepidation fell away. She took a step forward.
I did what I had to do.
She spat.
Alessandra should have died. I regret nothing.
She stomped toward Clark's ghost, empowered by her rage.
And you got exactly what you deserved.
Kate! Clark lurched forward, his arms outstretched, his mouth gaping wide.
Kate?
Damien sat up as the sound of Kate's shout echoed through the night. He looked around, but Kate was gone. Kate! He called again, louder this time. Where are you? Kate! He jumped up, his hand already on the hilt of his sword. His footsteps thundered as he followed the sound of her scream. The wind howled as Damien's boots pounded against the soft ground. He raced forward, his heart hammering in his chest, beating out Kate's name. He ran for her. Kate! His voice cut through the wind. Silence returned as his eyes scanned the darkness, darting between shifting shadows. He followed the sound of her scream, skidding to a stop as he entered the moonlit clearing. There, he saw her. Kate stood in the clearing, trembling under the pale glow of the moon. Her shoulders were rigid, her arms outstretched and flailing as though trying to get away from something. Her face was a mask of terror and rage. Damien cautiously ran toward her. Kate? Her eyes, wild and unfocused, made his blood run cold. She was screaming at nothing. Raw, broken shrieks tore from the depths of her soul. Whatever demons she was grappling with threatened to rip her from reality. Damien surged forward, grabbing her by the arms. Kate, look at me. She thrashed, lost in something he couldn't see. Kate, snap out of it. Kate gasped as he shook her lightly, her body jolting as though she had just surfaced from drowning. Her eyes locked on his. She let her body go limp in his strong grip. I'm here, Kate. You're safe now, he reassured her, holding her tight. She looked around and then back at Damien, really seeing him for the first time. Then she burst into tears. She collapsed against him, gripping onto his coat as sobs racked her body. He pulled her close to him, wrapping his arms around her until her sobbing subsided. It's okay. You're okay now. He smoothed her hair and murmured reassuring words into her ear. She felt her body slowly relax. What's wrong? What did you see? He asked carefully.
No.
Kate pulled back from him, her nails digging into his sleeves. She shook her head, unable to describe the ordeal she had just gone through.
I can't go back.
She whimpered.
I won't go back.
Damien nodded, pressing his lips into a thin line. He had no idea what she had seen or what demons were haunting her. But one thing was certain. Whatever had just happened had convinced her, even better than he could, that she could not return to Lockwood. Gently cupping her face, he forced her to meet his gaze. You don't have to go back, he swore. You're safe with me, and we're leaving this kingdom together. She nodded, her breath still coming in ragged bursts.
I want to leave.
We will, Damien reassured. As soon as the sun...
Now!
Kate cut him off.
We have to leave now.
Damien frowned, choosing his next words carefully. Kate, we should wait until dawn. The waters are too dangerous.
No.
She gripped his wrist so hard it made him wince. Her eyes burned with desperation.
We can't wait, Damien. Please.
He held her gaze for a moment before cursing softly under his breath. Damn it. All right. He relented. We'll set sail now. Kate exhaled shakily, relief washing over her face. Damien collected their items from camp, stamping out the fire with sand. We'll take the boat that the soldiers left behind. The soldiers' boat sat at the water's edge, bobbing against the waves. Damien held out his hand, helping Kate settle in. She watched silently as he unanchored the boat and maneuvered them away from shore, his muscles flexing and straining as he rode the oars. Water lapped up into the boat, and the rocky waters seemed intent on getting into the boat. Damien concentrated wholly on keeping them afloat as he rowed further from the shore. "Kate," he called to her, "hold the torch for me, light the way. Beyond the horizon lies our future." Kate nodded and silently followed Damien's command. The water was inky black in the darkness of the night, and Kate shivered, imagining what creatures resided below. Though terrified, Kate clutched the torch in her hands, unwilling to succumb to her fear of the unknown. She kept her eyes forward. She vowed she would not look back. The whispers came anyway. The wind carried them across the water, low and taunting. Kate swallowed, gripping the lantern handle until her knuckles turned white. In front of her, Damien was hard at work, steering them through the rocky waters toward freedom. But the whispers called to her from the shore. She refused to turn around. She was headed to a new life. There was nothing and no one left for her in Lockwood. The whispers were more insistent, taking shape. But they weren't real. She had no intention of turning back. She forced herself to stay facing forward, toward her future. Then, she heard a call she could not refuse. "My darling Kate, where are you going?" Katrina's whisper traveled on the wind, tickling her ear. She clenched her jaw and turned back. Simon, Katrina, Clark. The three stood on the shoreline, their hollow eyes watching. "You belong with us." Kate's eyes widened. "You can't outrun us." Her heartbeat roared in her ears. "You'll never be free." Kate raised her chin. They were dead, and she had no intention of joining them. She was alive. She turned away. She would never look back. Not ever again. This time, she would leave the ghosts of her past behind her. For good.
The truth is out, but the answers are still missing. Do you think Kate is really guilty, or is something bigger going on? Join now for early access, and don't forget to like and subscribe.